Well, hello and good morning. Hola, bon dia, alegria. Me, Carl Munson from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show. How on earth are you this morning? Deagle's here, Thunder's here, James is here, Matty, Francis, and Eusebio and Jim. Thank you all so much for tuning in before the show has even started, including Dougie and Owen as well, and Rebel Mama's here as well. Watch out, everybody. Rebel Mama's here too. Second day of us doing news, weather, and the expat update. It is, of course, Consumer Tuesday, and Mrs. M is threatening to pop into the studio today. She, we're dealing. We are. Hold on a minute. This just in. Loving that lip unibrow. It's coming on, isn't it? Further talk of man bags as well today. It's funny how all those themes have come together. And Victoria's here as well. Come back to all your lovely comments a little bit later, during and certainly after the news and weather update this morning. I hope you're well. As I said, Mrs. M coming in. It's Consumer Tuesday, and we're talking about how to complain in Portugal. This was after Gilda was with us yesterday from Imigrant Assessoria Imigratoria, the agency, of course, who helps you. They all help you, the team over there, with getting your visa for coming into Portugal. Now, we talked about CEF and what to do about CEF appointments, and is it worth complaining? Which led us to a very good tip from, I think it was Steve, wasn't it, who suggested Solve It. We'll come back to that. We'll also touch on the Livro de Reclamações, which is the Portuguese system for making complaints. And it was Gilda yesterday who said, yes, you should complain. And it's part of Portuguese culture, which I think is a very interesting comparison. Compare and contrast with where you are from and whether you come from a complaint culture. And when you do complain, what happens about it? I think the British, of which I am one, would like to think of themselves as not complaining too much, apologizing quite a lot, sorry, and maybe not being complainy types, but actually whinging quite a lot when it comes to it. And each country, I think, has its own kind of approach to complaining and moaning and whinging, that sort of thing. And the Portuguese have their own special way, which does revolve around the Livro de Reclamações. So we'll touch on that on Consumer Tuesday today after 9 o'clock. And please remind me to play the normal theme tune at 9, all right? But before then, let's take a look at some news and some weather. Oh, yeah, we will be doing a bit of a man bag mini special. And I also advertised the price of fish, didn't I? But I'm struggling to find I took some pictures for you of the great big here in Portugal at the supermarkets. They send you like a comic with all the bargains in each week, and you can leaf through and see whether dorada are especially good value this week, or pomegranates, or whatever happens to be, milk, the basics, that sort of thing. And I've lost the picture, but when Mrs. M comes in, I think I might have. I've been doing this weird thing. Instead of clearing my camera of its pictures, its many pictures, and because it's full up, I start taking pictures on WhatsApp because it allows you to, or on Messenger, which allows me to squeeze a few more into the bulging and squealing memory of my phone. But that way, when I went to look for the pictures this morning, they were not there, sadly. I have got them. That's fantastic. I do have the Intermarché pictures. That's superb. I will bring those to you a little bit later on. And I can give you a highlight now that the pescada deal was $6.99. $6.89 even a kilo, and the the sweet potatoes, the batatas dos, because it's Consumer Tuesday. This is what I do for you, taking pictures in the supermarket. 99 cents a kilo for batatas dos, the sweet potato. So more of that to follow a little bit later on. Looking forward to sharing that with you, actually. But before then, of course, this new feature, this new start to the show: news, weather, and expat update. The weather. I'll just give a quick weather before we take any requests for regional weather. The low has been 4 degrees overnight here outside the studio. My probe is hanging out the window, and we have 21 in the studio, which I don't. It all feels much colder to me than these devices are telling me. And 12 degrees outside. It did not feel like 12 degrees outside. And we were out and about yesterday evening, and it didn't feel like 7, 8, 9, or 10. I thought it was getting close to freezing, but maybe I'm just unacclimatized to this. And like I said yesterday, we didn't care about what the temperature was, did we, for the last few months? It didn't matter. There were blue skies. There was plenty of hot sun. But now it matters. And it's the same with the news, I think. What I'm going to do is go to the Portugal resident, which I'm a bit embarrassed to say. We used to do this a lot we used to go and visit the Portugal resident, and to find out what was going on with the pandemic. And Natasha Don's coverage was actually very, very good, I thought, throughout. And then, as soon as it doesn't seem to matter anymore, we've forgotten all about the Portugal resident and Natasha Don's reporting. So I'm going to put that right today, okay? And it just gives you a little bit of an introduction to one of the English language news sources in Portugal. We'll take a selection of. We'll have a look. Have a look at some of the stories that are going on over there. Among them, the Rear Admiral. There were requests to bring the Rear Admiral back. There you can see him on the screen. And I also want to tell you what some of the other headlines are before we go into. There's some pretty grisly stuff, actually, I have to say, in the news. But you can look at a picture of the Rear Admiral there while I tell you about some of the other headlines that are going on in Portugal at the moment. Of course, we covered yesterday Belgium's Thomas Pieters winning the Portugal Masters. That was a lot of fun. Excuse me. I don't know why the word commando would make me cough. Commandos arrested over suspicions of trafficking gold, drugs, and diamonds. That's a kind of exciting James Bond style story there. And in the world of sport, Miguel Oliveira, the great biker, the MotoGP biker of Portugal, crashes out, probably literally, as Francesco Bagnaia claims the red-flagged MotoGP win in Portimao. That was reported yesterday, so probably happened on Sunday, didn't it? And some other grisly stories, which I won't go into right now, but just to give you a few brieflies and some of the headlines. Portuguese municipalities at high or very high risk of infection increased to 29. Not sure what the 29 number means. We'll come back to some of that vaccination and COVID coverage when we do the Rear Admiral story. State signs 13 mining contracts 2 days after the state budget collapses. I wonder if there's a connection there that Natasha's making. Portugal reaffirmed as one of Europe's few safe destinations for travel over Christmas. That's nice, isn't it? You can have a look at some of these brieflies and headlines yourself if I bring them onto the screen there. Round the clock police guard on wife of fugitive BPP bankster. Isn't that amazing? And Portugal's, look at these brieflies here. On Consumer Tuesday, these are very apt, aren't they? Portugal's 5 main banks charge customers 4.4 million euros per day. Not every customer. That's probably the sum total, I suspect. If you went to your overdraft limit and saw it at minus 4.4 million, you would imagine, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about your personal. If I saw that in mine, I would think, hold on a minute, they've taken half my money away. Marcelo rubber stamps the CEF extinction with reservations. That's probably a good one to look at. I think I'm going to open that up and have a look. Reported yesterday. So there you go. Those are the brieflies and the headlines for Portugal from the English language. Portugal resident there. Let's have a closer look, shall we, at the story of the Rear Admiral. Which tab am I on? This is getting complicated now as I do this, but bring back the Admiral. Yes, so many tabs open. Bear with me as I get used to this again. Enrique Gouvier and Melo is now a household name in Portugal for all the right reasons. And people want him back. Gouvier. Bring back the Admiral exhorts GP as Portugal's vaccination process deteriorates. Okay, so the wonder of the world for a little while, it would seem, and that seems to be changing. Reported yesterday by Natasha Don, 8th of November. For days now, national media has been alluding to total confusion. See, I've been out of the loop with the news. I've only been reading the news again because of doing this feature for you. And I would never have got this impression from my daily toings and froings. But apparently, for days now, the national media has been alluding to total confusion returning to Portugal's vaccination process. Who knew? I didn't. Natasha does, and we'll find out more. Just weeks since the task force led by Vice Admiral, he's not a rear. Who, Eusebio? Was that you who told me he was a Rear Admiral? Were you just wanting to say that phrase, which is a good one, we have to say. And thank you. I'll put your Today in Portuguese History on the screen there so that that can be seen. And of course, we've got a picture to go with that a bit later on, haven't we, mate? So make sure we get that. Could be for the news. People are sending news in. That's fantastic. Well done, everybody. Thank you very much. I'll come back to that in just a moment. So there is mixed messaging over who should be entitled to the third booster. Mixed messaging over how to go about being vaccinated. Initially, the DGS said vaccines would be administered at the same time as flu jabs in different arms, in inverted commas. Then there was a shortage of flu vaccines. It's going to be going in the bum soon, isn't it, at this rate? And then the over 70s were told to go online to book their COVID shots. That's not a nice thing to do to some over 70s, is it? Some over 70s don't even have a computer, do they? Or am I being ageist or technologist or something there? Many not even having access to a computer. There you go. Thank you, Natasha. It's got to get Donna there. Natasha Donna. The Ordem dos Médicos has expressed concern over what it sees as a reduction in pace of the vaccination process. Graça Freitas, who you often see on the telly here in Portugal talking about these things, has refuted. There was a very strange video clip of her, how she was, I think was it taking a drink of water early on in the pandemic when everyone was full of fear, and she was obviously a main spokesperson for the government. This is a fascinating video clip. Graça Freitas, that is. She has refuted the criticism strongly by the sound of it. And leader writers have observed there really doesn't seem to be a plan for the third dose. There are some general lines which no one understands yet. And the worst is the answer to the question, isn't the vaccination lacking a face the Portuguese have become used to? Referring to the Vice Admiral, of course. And Graça's response to that has been, well, the people will have to get used to my face. I think they already have, love, which Mr. Rodriguez has said seems like the threat of a return of the old paradigms, which caused the Vice Admiral to be appointed in the first place. So there you go. They want him back in Portugal with his camos on there in the studio. He's got a nice set of facial hair there, isn't he? I wonder if he's doing a Movember. So what do you think about that? On the screen at the moment, today in Portuguese history, 1927, a trademark registration certificate is issued for Superboc to Companhia União Fabril Portuense das Fábricas de Cerveja e Bebidas Refrigerantes, the CUFP for short, which is a real relief to be able to say instead of all of that, which I just said. That's almost my 15 minutes of Portuguese saying all of that, Eusebio. How's everybody doing with their 15 minutes? We will come back to that as well. We have a picture to go with that, don't we? I think I should bring it on now. Where are you? Oh, there you go. Eusebio, thank you very much. And this is I think this is probably the letter of registration for the said Superboc recording registration there. And let's bring it onto the screen for you now. This is fantastic. We love Eusebio, don't we? Midlife Crisis World Tour and all that he brings to us, including this lovely photo that he's found from the Superboc offices. Portuguese, as well as the complaints book and that process of complaining. I think the Portuguese do like a rubber stamp as well. And you can see one here, I think probably from 1927, is it? Look at that, beautiful embossing and stamping going on there. And that is the registered trademark for Superboc by the sound of it. Isn't that a lovely little document there? You can almost smell it, can't you, on the screen there? That's fantastic. So thank you very much for that, Eusebio. He may well have another one of this day's in Portuguese history for us. So let's see what you're saying. Let's see how you're responding to that first of the news items this morning. And loads of comments coming in. Can barely keep up with you. So well done, Deagle, on your 15. And the bragging rights are there as well. Primero, Nesta Nanya, first in this morning. So you were the first this morning. Nesta Manya, I think, isn't it? Rather than a Nanya. Let's see how you're responding to the news before we come back. After 9 o'clock, I'll do your comments after 9. Yes, weather-wise, though, Rebel Mama, bon dia. Either I'm acclimating, which is a great word, isn't it? Or it's warmer today. Interesting. Thank you very much for that, Rebel Mama. And yes, thank you very much, Eusebio, for this day in Portuguese history. Coach Turner here, tudo bem, covering other forms of exercise this week, including swimming, cycling, and rowing, as well as some simple nutrition guidance. Growing Old Disgracefully course, drawing to an end. Okay, thank you very much for that, Coach Turner. I've really enjoyed that. That's news. The news that I feel fitter for working with you, Coach Turner. So thank you for that. And the knee is on the mend. And possibly because Mrs. M put some oil in my belly button last night. More on that to cut. Yes, I know you may have spat your coffee hearing that just now. But more to come on that when she perhaps joins me. And she's threatening to come in this morning. She may well come in. She has on this Consumer Tuesday, when we're talking about complaints, she has a complaint of her own. And from James, apparently Singapore is refusing medical coverage for unvaccinated by choice people contracting COVID. Wow. Choose no vaccine, choose to pay your own medical services if you contract COVID. A comment prompted, I'm sure, there by me reading out the news there that the Portuguese want the Vice Admiral. I wonder if he ever gets called the Vice Admiral or the Rear Admiral. Is that a Navy thing, the Rear Admiral? Cole, what do you know about the TAP Air announcement on Stopover Portugal? Donnie winding me up because we did that yesterday. So my bad, says Eusebio. So he was a Rear Admiral. Where does that title even come from? A Rear Admiral. My bad, he was promoted to Vice Admiral. Admiral, not admirable, in January 2017. Although he is admirable, let's face it. And I don't know if Don's winding me up at all. Conclusive proof. News just in that Carl has an innie. Yes, the treatment that I was given by Mrs. M late last night, yes, it would be difficult for somebody with an outie. It's true, Matty. Oh no, minhas no, vida sim. The mines are lithium mines and very controversial. I'll look that up. Sad news that. Well, I can look it up for you. We can go into that if you wish. Good morning from Tamar, interested in how to complain. Why? What's up? What's up, Maria? That is you, Maria, isn't it? And weather-wise, it was 25 degrees centigrade here in Cotera yesterday. Out at 9 a.m. eating my tosh de mista al fresco on the promenade. So hold on a minute. It was 25 at that time of the morning, Dougie. And thank you very much for your pick. Let's show that now. I think this is a sunset pic from you. Continuing. You didn't know, I think, that you were sending me photos, did you? Interestingly, which could have got interesting. I'm not saying it wasn't interesting, but it was differently interesting. So here's your picture from yesterday. It wasn't 25 degrees at that point. I suspect the air was becoming cooler by that time of the evening. Beautiful sunset. Thank you very much from the Algarve there, from the man who you can see in the picture there, glass in hand, as we've come to know and love. Dougie, of course, you might remember from the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, which some want to see the return of. Should we look at that mining story then, seeing that that's piqued some interest here? Let me go to it right now. Okay, was that a briefly? What was it? Where was it? So yeah, bear with us as I find that for you, Rebel Mama. I understand your concern about that, actually. But what do we do about that? Do we... the lithium needs to come from somewhere, right? Or do we just decide we don't want lithium and the sort of convenience and gadgetry that lithium brings to us? What's the solution for this? Okay, I've got it on the screen for you now, I believe. Here we go. State signs 13 mining contracts 2 days after the state budget collapse. I'm interested to see here how Natasha might bring the two together. Is she suggesting perhaps that that massive amount of income that will no doubt come from the mining is in some way a sweetener in terms of the national budget? The Portuguese state, she begins, in this case, the Department of Geology and Energy, the DGEG, a DGEG, signed 13 mining contracts 2 days after the state budget collapsed last week. Although the timing appears fairly blatant, okay, she is, I think there's a whiff of cynicism here. This kind of practice is not unknown. The PSD government signed over concessions for oil and gas exploration in the dying days of its last government too. Okay, so maybe cause for cynicism here. Get that complaints book out, or does that not apply to the government? For civic movements, adamant they are going to fight mining contracts in their areas. The positive aspect to hold on to is that not one of the oil and gas concessions actually made it. Yes, I think largely, well, in part, maybe not largely, but in part due to protestations, of course, from those groups. After years of protest and demonstrations, they were all scrapped. And there is a link to another story about that, should you wish to find it here on the Portugal Resident, from where I'm reading this morning. On this Good Morning Portugal news, weather and expat update session, which is the new thing, starting at 8:30 every morning. 8:50 already? You were right, Rebel Mama. I need to do less detail here. But these mining contracts could be different. Put another way, the current government, perhaps any government that comes to power right now, is intent on developing new industry for Portugal, particularly when it can be linked somehow to clean energy, which the mining of, for example, of lithium can. Interesting. Lithium mining is only envisaged in 2 of the latest contracts, but there are others in place which were signed last year. So, okay, so the retrieval of some of Portugal's most incredible natural assets here, by the sound of it. In all, the state has signed 40 new mining contracts since June 2020. And this is what you want to know, isn't it, if you're in Portugal? The latest contracts run for sites identified from the Alentejo up to the north. They are in Grandola for copper and tin. Look at all of these resources that Portugal has. Alsassa do Sol for corline. Is that corline? And quartz. Estremoz for prospection of gold, zinc, and lead. Wow, there is actually a gold rush going on in Portugal. Rio Maior for corline, etc. That sounds a bit baggy, doesn't it? And loose. Porto Alegre, prospection of gold, silver, and zinc. Leiria, 2 sites, Doc, who will be with me tomorrow. Mining of corline. We've got to find out what corline is and what it's used for, right? And quartz. Covilha. Quartz sounded like such a revolutionary and technologically brilliant thing, didn't it, in the 80s, when you had a quartz watch? Now it's just run of the mill, isn't it? Covilha, in brackets, Argamella, was for the prospection of lithium there. So not necessarily found yet, but they want to look for it there. Cantanheda for corline again, and Almeida. A lot of Almeidas. Be careful. There's a few of those Almeidas and Almadas around Portugal, but Almeida, mining of feldspar and quartz. I used to work in the Geological Museum. I have heard of all these things, but I must admit I wasn't very studious at the time. I was working in a different department to the geologist there. Fascinating job, though. Aramar, the mining of tungsten and tin. Villanova de Fojcor, mining of feldspar and quartz. Macedo, all these places in Portugal that most of which we haven't heard of, right? Macedo de Cavaleiros, prospection and research for lithium and tin. And Montalegre, what is this? The mining of wolfram. Sounds like a superhero, doesn't it? Mining of wolfram and tin. Some of the contracts are extensions to existing contracts signed with Portuguese companies. So there you go. That is interesting. And thank you for taking us in that direction there, Rebel Mama. Is there anything on your... I mean, it is a definite sort of, my backyard thing. Who would want that in their backyard? But then in the bigger picture, do we not need some of these things? And do they not need to come from somewhere in the world? So we will have some weather and we'll have some sport in a bit. Those are not pandemic situations. So no, I do not believe that. And I don't think other countries are having issues with anti-vaxxers physically attacking those who are trying to curb the pandemic. Hold on a minute. What did I miss here in the comments? And I think... oh yeah, the tap. Don, look up yesterday's show for that, because it is the resurrection of the tap offer, where you can stay over in both Lisbon and Porto, free of charge from their point of view. Obviously, you'll have to pay for your own hotel and food and all that sort of stuff when you stay over, but you can do that as a stop off here in Portugal if you're flying long haul with TAP. Okay, so yes, I have an innie. Well done, Carl. Not sure I've helped your belly button, but glad your knee is on the mend. We'll see. We'll look at it holistically. Yeah, Don, check it out. Put the Vice Admiral in charge of CEF while we're at it. Yeah, that's a good call, isn't it? And not for the first time. He's a man in demand at the moment. Well, we have to pay anyway. However, I think a non-believer, non-vaxxer, non-masker should not be allowed treatment in the hospitals. Oh, Jeannie, that's not how it should work, is it, in a civilized society? But then again, you might come back at me with, if in a civilized society, everyone would do as they were told. Lovely start to the day here in the UK, but colder weather pushing for the week ahead. Okay, so a nice bright start over there in the UK. Good morning to you, Gary. And loving these weather reports, actually. What's meant when you say state budget of Portugal has collapsed? Well, they couldn't agree. The parties couldn't agree, Doug, which led to the dissolution of the parliament and an early election for January the 30th of next year. Okay, I hope that helps. I don't know about the news first thing. It really harshing my mellow, man. Well, I don't go for the really grisly stories. We do look for some upside and positivity with this. But yes, it has taken a certain turn this morning, isn't it? Anyone who wants to stop all mining should go and bury... Oh, here we go. Who should go and bury their cars, any article of jewelry, cell phone. Michael, come on. It's all about balance, isn't it? Joao F. said, good morning, everybody. I hope everyone feels strong enough to complain this morning. It's Consumer Tuesday. It was bound to happen. Okay, hold on a minute. So those are not pandemic situations. I'm not sure what that means there. It's perhaps connected to your earlier comment there, Jeannie. If you can't farm it, you have to mine it. As the old saying goes, hey, Michael, that probably sounds good in Latin, my friend. There was an article the other day that if they stop lithium mining, we would have to develop clockwork cars. Well, why not? Sounded like a wind up to me. Yes, Stephen, very good. It was about 18 degrees by 7:30. Sorry, I was looking at 19:30 there, wasn't it? 9:30 last night, 18 degrees in the south. Isn't that amazing? It was only cool, not cold even in the evenings. Barely a breeze yesterday. Thank you for that weather report, Dougie. Most mines these days never dry past the environmental permitting. Rather lithium than coal. Michael with a stout defense there. Staunch, stout defense of mining, and let's hope he's right. Thunder with a nice anniversary. Today marks 7 months since we arrived in Portugal. How about news covering the good and positive stuff going on? Send it to me, James, and I'll gladly cover it. Used to be the assistant editor at Positive News in the UK. I did back in the day. Our medical professionals are quitting because we are overwhelmed with beds full of people who believe COVID is a hoax. I think there's another side to this story as well, Jeannie. There are medical professionals quitting, I think, because of enforced vaccination. There is a rounded picture to look at here. Stop digging up the planet. Garvo's here, everybody. The old eco-warrior of Al Viagra. Electrolysis of seawater not only makes hydrogen and oxygen, but other byproducts like magnesium, sodium, iodine, which could all be recovered and sold to make profit. There you go. There you go. Simple. The man of reason sorts it out for us. Okay, so let's have a quick look at that weather, shall we? Here in Portugal, I'll tell you what's going on in the principal cities. You may also want to request some weather in your local area. So of the many tabs that I have open this morning, let's see if I can bring that weather on for you. And let's take a look at it now. Oh, that's good. Well done, Carl. Let me just share it with you on the screen as well. That'd be useful, wouldn't it? So Lisbon, 14 degrees at the moment. With a high of 20 today. So not too bad at all. The St. Martin summer continuing, or if you're German, the old woman summer. Why they call it that, I do not know. In Porto, 19 degrees the high and 13 currently with a clear sky in Porto there. And yes, it was looking like it was going to be a sunny old week, but things have changed actually. Looking forward to the rest of the week, certainly in the capital, some rain at the weekend on Sunday. And if you like it in Fahrenheit, it's a high of 68 Fahrenheit in Lisbon and currently 57 Fahrenheit there. Coimbra, a couple of sunny days to come tomorrow and Thursday. Free of rain, though. And Faro, down to the south for Dougie there. 19 degrees will be the high, the predicted high today. Currently 10, which Mrs. M thought was comfortable. I'm feeling that in my bones, actually. But maybe the oil in the belly button will help. And I made a bit of a gaffe yesterday. I think I was looking at the high temperatures of the Azores yesterday, and I didn't see that it was raining all week. So sorry if you packed your bags to go to the Azores for the high temperatures. Bear in mind to pack an umbrella too, a brolly, because the highs are 21 and 20 certainly for the first part of the week. But it's raining all week in the Azores, and Madeira is still looking pretty good though. Although the temperatures are a lot lower. No rain, but much lower temperatures in Madeira. It looks like Gilda picked a good time to go. And as you can see there, all those parts of Portugal, very happy to look at the weather in those parts of Portugal by request. And just finally then, football story may be of interest to Jerry, our very own Jerry Lawler. Jerry, see you in Portugal with a glint in his eye. Lawler, we are looking at Ronaldo and Cristiano, number 7. Josh Cullen determined to stop him for a full game this time. And, of course, the Portuguese squad will be over in Ireland, playing the Republic of Ireland on Thursday, I believe, Thursday evening, arriving tomorrow, Wednesday, in Ireland. And it's a game that seems to have caused a lot of interest. I don't think that the Irish will win it. But it's a kind of win. It's a national win in a way because of the amount of publicity and interest and speculation that is being caused by Cristiano being in Ireland on Thursday. To probably, although that's, to be fair, I think the result last time was a 2-1 victory for Portugal. It wasn't a routing by any means, but it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that result. Portugal playing Ireland on Thursday evening. So that brings us up to date on the news, weather, and a few other bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do, as I meant to do yesterday, this is my new format, I'm going to play you the traditional 9 o'clock intro. See you on the other side of this for some community chat and Consumer Tuesday. We'll be managing a whole range of complaints, including Mrs. Munson herself coming in to complain at me live on air on Complaint Corner. And she's not getting the book out; she's throwing it at me. And instead of a complaints book, we've got a complaints corner live in the studio. See you after this. Just like the old days. Just like the old days. Last week, basically. Thank you for the moustache pictures, everybody. It is, of course, Consumer Tuesday. We're talking about how to complain in Portugal. I think stimulated, reminded by Gilda, it's a part of the culture in Portugal. People are happy to complain here. You don't need to take it personally. It's about your performance and behavior. It's not about you as an individual. Okay, that's a good thing to bear in mind, isn't it, when it comes to criticism. Mrs. M's put all sorts of screens ready for me to share. What is this one? Oh, feel good conversation. Okay, so given that, look, it might have been a bit of a downer this morning, and people have come to the rescue immediately. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, James. People are sending in positive news stories already. So maybe I need to have a word with myself. Is that a kind of veiled complaint in its own way? That people have just Francis, I think Khadija, Rebel Mama, you have been thinking, no, we don't want to talk about mining and vaccinations and Ferraris and this, that, and the other, and look at those dark, daunting headlines from the papers. We want to talk about positive stuff. Well, fair enough, folks. I'm happy with that, and I will take that on my hairless chin right now. Okay, we will be talking about the price of fish. We'll be talking about man bags, all sorts, and Mrs. M to pop in during this hour. Okay, let's have a look then. Stop digging up the planet. Okay, we did that, didn't we? Winding stations instead of petrol stations. I like it. That's work for people as well, isn't it? Teams of burly people. It's like. Okay, you should be good for another 50 meters now. Please make your way to the next wind-up station. Some of us are better than others here for that sort of thing, I think. Electrolysis of seawater. We've got to carry on with some of these comments, haven't we? Perhaps in a more light-hearted way. Electrolysis of seawater requires energy more than you'll get back from the hydrogen and the oxygen. But aren't all energies what's the word? An ever-decreasing process. We haven't found perpetual motion, have we, or an energy system apart from the sun in many ways. It just keeps burning in the sky, doesn't it? And you think we might be able to use it more efficiently than we do, and maybe we are making some progress in that department. And I'll stop now because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But that never stopped me, did it? That never stopped me, generally speaking. But electrolysis of seawater, that's interesting. But you can multitask with that. Couldn't anybody who, I was going to say women, there are lots of people who want to take the hair off their legs, not just women. Maybe could they paddle while the electrolysis of seawater is occurring and have all the hair come out of their legs at the same time? I wonder, a multitasking opportunity. Jeannie, were you? Oh, okay, maybe that was the rounded discussion about what's going on, pro-vax, anti-vax, vax intolerance, vax curious, and etc. etc. Bon dia. From Pam, simple bon dia from you, and right back at you with a little butterfly of peace there. Thank you for that, Pam. Her picture sent. What? Hold on a minute. Let's see what has Owen been sending in now. Let's have a quick look at this. A man famed for his batter in central Portugal. He sent me this. Hold on a minute. Okay, what did you call? What is happening here. Thank you, Owen, for that. And you're calling me, couldn't resist, Flight Commander Munson. Okay, thank you very much for that. Appreciated. And I think we've got another Tash serving suggestion here. Who is this great American comic actor? But Jack, I think you're sending, yes, your comment that goes with this, which I'm afraid falls into the realms of alternative technology and science fiction, really. I don't think I'm ever going to get a head of hair quite like that. Again, Jack, just need to sort the hair out now. You're so right. But I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Although Mrs. M does keep suggesting things, and with the great results from the oil in the belly button last night, and I'll find out exactly what was in that concoction that she placed there last night. Who knows? Maybe there is a bushy barnet ahead for me in that way. Can you imagine if you went from near baldness to a head of hair like that? You could probably be very rich, right? Let's face it. Who is that person? And I think, yes, that is the Tash I'm going for. That is what I'm growing for Movember. Thank you very much for that, Jack. I don't think I can pull off the Clark Gable, so to speak. That is not going to be for me. I think it's going to be more of one of those ticklers that gentleman is sporting. And he's a great comic actor from the States, isn't he? Whose name I forget now. Susan, you were in early with some excellent contributions about man bags. I feel like we should do that, actually. Before we go anywhere else, just to complete on that. And there was a brief history of purses. I loved your comments that you made, actually, before we really get into the complaining thing this morning. And we'll start with the complaint. We've had a complaint via YouTube. Well, a bit of a moan, I think, or a bit of, well, let's call it feedback. Let's call it feedback from somebody who sent me a message yesterday. So as well as Gilda, this person, D Post, who was on YouTube yesterday, prompted me in part to do the complaints thing. And we will take this into Complaints Corner this morning, along with live complaining from Mrs. M, who's complaining about our Saturday night format, the Feel Good Portugal. She's a bit disappointed. I gave her numbers. You know what? She was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I first met her. I picked her up, I turned around, something else. Thank you, Phil Oakey. Okay, unfortunately, it's very difficult to find positive commercial news. Kind of why I'd never seen that written like that. That's really good. Kind of why I stopped following commercial news altogether. Okay, I understand. I do really understand this. And yes, it was a hard job. I tell you, as assistant editor at Positive News, to get people to take positive news seriously. Although obviously you're not trying to get them to take it seriously. But there is an old adage in the media, isn't there? The bad news has traveled around the world twice, whilst good news is still doing up its shoelaces. It's part of human nature, isn't it? But maybe we can be part of challenging that. And yet I still seem to have an idea of what's happening in the world. Yeah, we're never far away from it, are we? And I will take that as good feedback, actually, James. And looking forward to your company on Thursday, of course. I'll see you then when you tell us your story of coming here to, incoming coffee from Mrs. M. If she were a superhero or some sort of mythical figure, she would be Louisa the Complainer. She's here to do that this morning. Thank you for the coffee. Yeah, I've set the scene already, as well as, and you're here to explain and complain. What was that you put in my belly button last night? It's a World Cup qualifier. Oh, that's not the belly button. Wouldn't it be amazing if your belly button was described as a World Cup qualifier? No, that's the Ireland-Portugal match on Thursday. And I think probably that's why it's not being taken as seriously, maybe, as some matches are. I don't know. Let's feel free to discuss that if you're a footy fan. And if you're not a footy fan, remember, we are helping you get hooked up with your local football team with the help of Michael Heron, who's going to do a special on that when he returns on the first Wednesday of next month. Second Wednesday, as it is tomorrow. Let me just turn you down a minute. I'm complaining now, coming in here, causing trouble. Or are you ready to join me on screen? That was a look of admonishment there. Sorry, go on.
It was not.
Let's bring her onto the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome to the Good Morning Portugal show, Mrs. M. There she is. Hello, love.
Good morning, everyone.
And although it says she's muted, she is never muted, this woman. Not in my heart and mind. And she's here this morning to talk about Feel Good Portugal on Saturday night, among other things. Can I just catch up with a few things here before I interrupted myself, as I often do?
Sure. Yeah, okay. Take me off screen so I don't distract you or.
Oh, I quite like seeing you there and breathing heavily through the microphone. Okay, we'll come back to you in just a minute then. Yes, tomorrow the doc is here, second Wednesday. James on Thursday and Philomena Friday with Philomena on Friday. Philomena, she'll be with us. Back to Michael and the mining thing. Actually, it's no good. I can't have you in the studio and not have you on the screen. Let's have you chipping in with some of these comments here. It's going to take a little more time, but the use of lithium in larger batteries, for example, cars will come down dramatically as the battery designs come online. Watch this space. I think you're right, because you and I had a bit of a discussion about this, didn't we?
What's that?
What were you talking about? Electric cars breaking down?
Yeah.
In cold weather and stuff like that?
Yeah, because if they lose their charge and all of a sudden there's this massive pile up and no one's moving for ages, it won't be long before, like if it's cold, for instance, in the middle of winter, everyone's gonna like have their heaters on, and then they'll all get flat batteries. And then how are they going to get charged up again?
As I said to you, this is what they were saying when motor vehicles were first invented. People on horses would say, these newfangled combustion engine cars, you mark my words, they run on petrol and the petrol will run out in 200 years time. And maybe that is what's happening now, but we make it work, don't we? We find a way of making it work, I think, as human beings. I think. Oh, that's you're seeing a different view of that look she just gave me. I get it differently to what you're seeing on screen. Francis, I did get your story, and we will return to that. And okay, yeah, point taken, everybody. Good on you, Francis, about the whole thing of more positive news. Send them to me, and local events are right. I'm very happy to stay away from all the grisly news and feature local news and local people. Absolutely right. Worth bearing in mind, all these temperatures are only air temperatures. Always feels much warmer in the shelter and in the sunshine. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes from Dougie there. That's more like it. The opening. James enjoying my opening this morning. William Ogle, people on the car, and all you lovely do it for real on Thursday, and all you lovely gumpers from the North Coast. I hope you all have a lovely day. Portugal versus Ireland. Come on, Portugal, says William. Over there in Northern Ireland. Bon dia todos from not so sunny yet San Martino. Oh, hello, just down the road. We must have a coffee sometime and talk about mining, maybe, Michael, and other things. Missed you in Porto de Moj by 1 day last week. So you were over there. Isn't it amazing, Porto de Moj? Susan is here sending me lovely pictures of red handbags that she perhaps thinks I should sport. That microphone turns off when you do that. That's really clever. The big game is Sunday versus Serbia for Portugal. Okay, they're going to be tired for that, though, aren't they? What were you laughing about, Rebel Mama, there, I wonder? Portugal makes it illegal for your boss to text you after work in game changer remote work law. We'll come back to that, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's only if you work in a company that has over 10 employees, I was reading.
Okay, so if there's two of you, the boss and the employee, they can text you anytime they like.
Yeah,
that's
basically.
No good, is it? Okay, but no, I don't mean to pee on those chips. That's obviously a good thing to do, isn't it? There, so well done, Portugal, for bringing that about. Beware, employers who text your staff late at night, unless, of course, you're a man and wife business team like us. Because you know how you like to get a text from me late at night, right?
We're always messaging,
but not work related.
I mean, I get messages from my clients all times of the evening because of time zones.
Yes.
I think it's almost unfair to expect them to message within a particular time set.
Yeah.
But
okay, so work in progress. As with everything in this human world of ours, it's always very nice to see a lot of expert opinions about energy solutions aiming to save our planet's future. The only problem is that every miracle solution, has an environmental cost. What did you put in my belly button? Philomena, yes, she's going to be here on Friday. Oh, meu Deus. Oh, meu Deus. Oh, Carl, não tem barba. Muito bonito. Look at that. Oh, and I think
difficulty seeing. I need glasses because this screen is so small, isn't it?
You're blaming the screen. I think you need glasses. And I think, look at that. We'll have some of that as well. Muito bem for my shaving experiment, and not one of these from Philomena. We do love that. And everybody who did their 15 yesterday or hastily this morning, well done. And you get one of these instead. Muito bem. Nice thumbs up from Philomena, who will be with us on Friday. Okay, so Jean's here as well. Bon dia todos as well. Osh todos to everybody. I think you enjoyed the oil in the belly button, Carl. Yes, I did, Doug. But it's not a commercial service that Mrs. M is offering, so don't get too excited. Don't forget the pollution made. What, in the belly button? No, in the building process of infrastructures do produce new means of energy, or the problem of the disposal of used batteries, for example. Yes, you've got to look at the whole picture, haven't you? With everything, really. And that's what we neglect to do most of all, I think, is seek balance and look at the big picture. That's our big lesson, I think, at the moment. No man purses. Let's call them satchels. Men used to have
satchels. I love that word.
You do?
Oh, I used to love having a satchel. It was great.
Which brings to mind what a wonderful world. But that was Satchmo and not Satchel, wasn't it? Who sang that? Okay, so while we're talking about this, then let's get this out of the way. A brief history of purses, because you were quite critical, I think. Well, I don't think I remember it quite vividly. I'm scarred by the experience of your feelings towards my man bag that I was sporting in the UK.
Yeah, well, thankfully it didn't look like that, because I'd have been whacking you over the head with it.
Yes, I think you're probably right. Okay. And then Susan sent me this. Maybe Otzi the Iceman was killed for carrying a purse 5,000 years ago. Men carried them first, you see. As people, we're weird, aren't we? She says, with these gender rules created throughout the ages in what is appropriate when wandering and needing to carry items. So, but I think, it's probably quite manly, is it not, to have a satchel full of rocks to throw at woolly mammoth, if that's indeed what happened. But what's going on here?
I think the whole idea of having a clutch is very unmanly because you don't have your hands free.
Well, I think
how can you protect your women, your children?
You wouldn't say that to Osiris here.
I flipping well would.
Okay.
Like
you would as well.
Like I mean, bum bags, back in the 80s and 90s.
No, I'm not doing that.
I mean, they are actually very practical because you've got everything, I used to like having one when I was, working as a rep in France. That was great. But I still think having a good rucksack is good. You've got your hands free, you're carrying what you need.
Yeah, you're working out when it's your particular backpack.
Well, I always needed to wear a backpack because I was always carrying a child on the front, so it kind
balances out.
Yeah, balances me out.
And all the things in there, like the kitchen sink and
I don't have a kitchen sink, but I do have a pretty full homeopathy bag.
Here's the thing, though. Can I have some money? It's in my purse. Where's your purse? It's in my bag. Which pocket? Which of the 13 pockets? And I'm always down to the 13th pocket trying to find the thing in the bag there. But enough of my woes. The original meaning of the word purse was a small bag for holding your money. In Britain, this definition of purse still stands, and the term for a larger bag that holds more items is referred to as a handbag. Thank you. Love Your Leather via Susan this morning. Love Your Leather. That's an interesting site, isn't it? We put our heart into it, is their strap line. So their heart in your leather. In American English, the term purse and handbag are considered to be the same. Okay, so there's a thing a bit like rubber and eraser, which can also get you into some trouble. As I said the other morning, go to the top of class and hand out the rubbers. A modern day purse should actually have rubbers in it, shouldn't it, for the modern responsible person? But anyway, enough of that. A modern day purse is a fashionable bag with straps that easily go over the shoulder, used for carrying personal items such as money, makeup, electronic devices. That
would be really handy for your makeup, love.
It would, wouldn't it? With the foundation and the moisturizers that I use profusely. Purses are mainly designed for and worn by women. However, in the past 30 years or so, the man purse, that's a phrase we haven't used yet, isn't it? She's not happy. The man purse has been making a comeback.
Sorry, purse just sounds
Hold on, what does it say here?
It sounds like a euphemism for ball bags. Sorry, a man purse. It's where you hold your
testicles.
Yes.
See, this is why I won't have her on the show.
Well, I'm here for a real reason, and you're talking to me about your handbag.
Okay, all right. I will resolve this in just a moment, so you can do what you came here to do. Just using me, obviously.
I am totally.
So the in the past 30 years or so, the man purse has been making a comeback, thanks largely to Expat Portugal show presenter Carl Munson.
Is that what it says?
It doesn't say that.
It should say that.
Purses weren't always convenient, fashionable bags worn by women. In fact, the first purses in history were more utilitarian and actually worn by men. Thank you, ancestors. The usage of a purse continued this way for a long time before women started using them. So who is that Egyptian there? Is that Osiris? Not carrying a handbag for some reason.
Well, Osiris was torn into 13 pieces.
For carrying a man bag?
No, well, he could have been. I don't know. I think it was because his brother was jealous of him or something.
Okay, there's some third eye action going on there. Pineal gland sort of stuff. And, you know about these things, don't
you? His penis was the last. Like his bits were spread all across the world, hidden so that he couldn't be resurrected. And all of the obelisks that you see around the world are, I think, representations of his penis.
Thank you for bringing such incredible history and class to the show.
I do research like asteroids and things and stories of people, or gods and things.
And the next thing you're going to tell me, his penis was found in his own man bag as a last gesture of, don't do that to all the men of the time.
No, you're talking about man bags, and you were saying, is that Osiris? So I just thought.
Okay, so more evidence of ancient purses can be found in Egyptian hieroglyphs that depict men carrying pouches around their waist. I can't see a pouch around his waist. I can see him wearing a skirt, which is another avenue I might explore next summer.
You've got the legs for it.
Yeah, thank you. That depict men carrying pouches around their waist. And once again, in biblical times, where Judas's carry-out was identified as someone that carried purses. Okay, the battery's going, yay! She can't be potty-mouthed anymore.
I don't think I've sworn yet.
Okay, all right. No, that's true. That's true. There's time, though. And can you just deal with the rumor? I said earlier on that you were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I first met you. Not true, is it?
It's not true. It's
true.
Fake news.
It's Facebook. It was actually Facebook. Okay, Susan, just briefly then, I don't watch news either these days. It's important enough. I will hear about it. If it's important enough, I will hear about it. So, yay, James. Looks like I made a bit of a gaffe here with reading out negative news in the morning. No more battles or waste or mining. Okay, Gary, sounding a lot like John Lennon this morning. Imagine that, Gary. Okay, so what did you come here to complain about on Consumer?
Is this my my regular slot to come and complain about things?
It's called Complaint Corner. So instead of a complaints book, if I could just briefly share this with people then, because we were talking about how to complain in Portugal, and when I went to the livro reclamações.pt, it said under maintenance. Which
no
is
way, did you complain about it?
It's the first thing to complain about.
Did you ask for the book?
But actually, no. Although it says that, it doesn't actually. It's not actually true, which is grounds for complaint. Confusing me like that first thing in the morning. And no, the page, which is just called Start. Their webmaster mistress does need a little bit of a complaint to chivvy them along. But there you go, the Livro de Reclamações. This is how it's done in Portugal. And I am translating it to English there with a right click of my mouse. And it's very interesting stuff here on this screen before you launch into your very own. This is what you can do. You can come on live onto the show and complain about things rather than have to write in a book.
May I have the book, please?
No, you can do it to my face, which is I think better. So do complaint, ask for information, consult complaint, praise or suggest. So there is a side to it, just like with the bad news, there is a positive side to it where you can make nice suggestions. Now, interestingly, according to Human Nature, here's the electronic complaints book in numbers, the online version of the said thing. I mean, it happens in physical form. You can actually ask for the physical complaints book. With websites, you ask for the digital version. And I think this is a central repository of those things. 343,827 people were, I think, cited here or are involved in this project. And 35 registered regulatory supervisory entities, including CEF, I suspect. And there were, look, if you compare and contrast these, it's so interesting, I think. Over 500,000 complaints, 535,850. And how many compliments do you think? Power numbers, by the way.
Oh.
3,333 compliments.
No way.
But I suppose if you call it the complaints site, people aren't going to go there to compliment people, are they? And only 50, people aren't very solution focused either, are they? Only 1,500 suggestions out of that 500,000 complaints and 21,000 requests for information. How, I hear you ask, does the complaints book online fare itself in terms of customer satisfaction? 3 out of 4. So they must have their own in which you can complain about how bad it is. All good if you want to, or make a suggestion. So that's how to complain in Portugal. Online, livro reclamações.pt, and I will put that in the comments for you. So 33 is the magic number, says Thunder. He's as bad as you, love, honestly. So there you go. If you want to take a look at that, a longer and more lingering look, that's where you can do it. And she's here now to do a live complaint to me into my face. Okay, so what's
that
up?
That actually wasn't what I was coming to do with you. It was you that wanted to make it into a complaint.
Okay.
So why don't you start?
Why don't I start? Complaining at myself?
Why don't you start with the complaint you think I'm making?
Oh, okay, very good. See what you did there. Okay. This is what I think your beef is. I've been hearing since we've been doing the Feel Good Portugal show on a Saturday night. Don't miss it. 10 o'clock on a Saturday evening. Mrs. Emma said to me, "It's not really." This is how she speaks to me. It's not really. It's not really what we set out to do. We called it Spiritual Portugal at first. And what she said to me, I think, on Saturday night, it's just your morning show on a Saturday night.
It actually feels like it is. And for those of you that listen in, and I'm very grateful, to have your company and everything. But is it just like the Monday morning or, Friday morning just on a Saturday night? It feels like.
And what would be wrong with that? I hear the people saying.
Well, I mean, if it is like that and it's just about the comments and not so much about the people like who are joining us for an online conversation, then you might as well do it without me.
Oh, no, don't be like that.
Well, because, okay, this is the complaint coming out. And
here we go. I knew it.
I'm really not ungrateful at all. I really love the opportunity.
You know a complaint's coming when somebody prefaces their comment like that.
No. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's the most watches I get. I produce a lot of content, and the stuff that I produce that I'm involved in that gets watched the most is when I'm having a light-hearted conversation with you. And a bunch of people that I don't yet know, and I say yet very purposefully because I think you're all great and I'd love to meet you all.
But.
And no, it's not a but, it's an and. And it's not actually the reason we came together. When you said, let's do a show together.
Oh, I see, right.
You suggested that we would do a show that would combine the strengths of both of our channels.
Yes.
So yours is like yours is the lovely chat show in the community.
Yeah.
And then mine was about everything being like my channel it's Louisa Tanner Munson. So if you just search, for my actual full name.
See what you did there.
Yeah, I know. Right, and basically I have feel good conversations. That's what my show's called. And I invite people on to talk. Here it is now. In fact, I've got one later on today with Robert Jardine.
Plug. But,
the conversations I have are about creating a sense of peace, a sense of calm, to increase your health, everything that will help you feel good.
In that?
And so the idea of us two coming together on Saturday night was to kind of do a bit of both. And very recently, it's just felt like it's Monday morning at Munson Manor.
On a Saturday night?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, you've heard the complaint.
So what do you think? Is that true?
What do you think, folks? I'm going to see if I can distract you with a few compliments.
No, hang on. And if you have been one of the people that's watching on a Saturday night, what would you like to see?
That's a good
That's
question.
what I'd really like to know.
There it is.
Like if there were some subjects, there you go. If there were some subjects, like I can see in the chat room right now, there's quite a big thread about social conscience, and the idea of where we buy our things from, etc., etc. I mean, I've interviewed a couple of fantastic Portuguese permaculturalists, one of whom is helping to build a permaculture village, not too far away either, and he's working with lots of different parts of industry to ensure that everything is really fit for purpose and that it's not creating a problem for the future generations. Just as one of your audience members was writing, like our kids have to inherit this. So like, if this is of interest, I'll get him in on a Saturday night. So let us know like what is important and what would help you feel nourished, feel good, or
can't believe it.
Is it just something that you're not interested in?
Coming in here, trying to create a positive vision of the future. What you like? Jeannie saying, this is a whole thread dedicated to you now, I think. Look at this, Mrs.
Who said that?
That's Owen.
Oh, hello, Owen. How are you?
Midlife crisis Eusebio. Is she in a photo booth? Yeah, have you put the money in yet? There's a little slot.
No, if it's a photo booth, I'd be like this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then it takes a picture, doesn't it? Oh! Beautiful as ever. And you, Mrs. M. Oh, Gary. I'm all flushed.
Thank you, Gary.
We haven't finished the man bag discussion yet because I've still got to show you.
That can be shelved a little bit. That can come back in when I clear off. You can
okay. Well, we will return to the website apetojentleman.com. Seriously,
that sounds really good.
With the 6 best bags for men and why you should own them. So not just one, but 6, different occasions, you know. Yes, I'm in a photo booth. Okay, you saw that earlier on.
Yeah.
Bon dia, Muslim, from William. It's like Amelie. Oh, does she have a photo? Which scene are you talking about in Amelie, I wonder, rascal? Hey, Louisa, did I get your wife's name right? You did.
I changed my name on the screen. So
we are Carlos and Luisa. We have Portuguese names here. Some will get this movie reference. Is that the Amelie reference? She is. Yeah, yes, that's right. The photo booth thing. But there's also the rather whimsical scene of this, the pleasuring, the sounds of pleasure coming from rooftops, which I like to think is also our house is included in that as well. Yes, it's Louisa. Oh, okay. So you've already been working the room.
Yeah, I have.
When did you do that?
When I was listening to you talk about man bags.
Okay, yeah. The jazz funk track of the day from Chris Capricorn 12 is Kashif. I just gotta have your love. No, I just gotta have you. Lover Turn Me On. We know what that song's about. An amazing artist that I've had a great impact on the music industry, especially using the synth. Thank you very much for that, Chris. Is there a lot of solar yet in Portugal? There is, especially at Pete Bleach's house. Right now, you don't see lines. Or even cars frequently at the limited number of charging stations. When we all have electrics, then what? And also, yeah, there was a story, Portuguese news article about the high cost of some of the charging stations, but I didn't share that. I didn't want to depress you with that. I wonder how difficult it is to push an electric car when it breaks down.
Exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
If it's anything like a mobility scooter, you have to release the whatever that technology is, because they just come to a grinding halt, which obviously is right. If somebody is in a mobility scooter, you don't want it sort of roller coastering off into the distance, as I have seen with my dear friend Monty back in Devon. But ordinarily, you don't want that happening, and you have to release the servos or whatever is on an electric vehicle. But that's a good point, Gary. We all complain against lithium mining while texting earnestly and comfortably on our mobile phones.
Yeah,
it's true.
it's true.
What do we like, us humans? We have Tesla, and our current winters get to -20. Running out hadn't happened for 3 years yet. Okay, so he's a Tesla man. I kind of knew it. Maybe it's him. We've seen him riding around the Silver Coast in a Tesla. Can I have a ride in that, Michael? The car, can we do a show from it? Because it's bound to have good Wi-Fi. I
think you should actually take your show on the road as well. I mean, that's another option.
That's a big complaint.
Which Carl and I have.
Take your show with you.
No, we've joked about it. You know, you should have your show on the road.
Okay, so the car goes into.
We go and visit different places.
Look at this. Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. Let's do that with Michael's help, perhaps. The car has got a creep mode. Isn't that when you drive slowly and whistle at women, or is it a different kind of creep mode? Not suggesting you would ever do that, Michael. But the car goes into creep mode so that you can get it out of the way, so you can get out and milk it, kind of thing. Joao, at the same time, we keep forgetting that only a small part of electric energy comes from clean sources around the world. It's so true, Joao F. Another man going for the Man of Reason title there. Mrs. M's show. Okay, so we're getting to the nub of the matter here. While you're here this morning, Mrs. M's show is great on a Saturday. Actually, it's
our show.
Yes. See, you've made an impact already.
Yeah, but it's actually more Carl's show. The direction of it has gone more in the way of the chit chat. And less in the way of.
She's calling us shallow and superficial.
No, I didn't say that. They were your words. Oh, look at the way you're arguing. Yes. I will quote that back to you later. Yeah, the great thing is we've got it on video. I will use that later.
Oh, no. It creates.
How about you changing my words then?
And she will. Woo. It creates a bridge over the weekend, and it's for 2 hours. Hint, hint, Carl. Was it you yesterday suggesting a 2-hour show in the morning while Mrs. M's here? No, it's not going to happen. I can't seem to see that. That was a great answer for you there, Chris. Simply dealt with. I can't seem to find a good solution to what we do with all the dead batteries our children will have to deal with. Yeah, that is quite a chilling image, isn't it? Our children looking at a big pile of.
Well, it was
batteries.
James's wonderful comment that I was referring to. You know, like we can talk about different things.
Okay. You weren't here for this. Here's a serving suggestion for the tash.
Let's have a look.
There's this one.
Actually, while you're looking at all those
I could do
comments,
it now. Okay.
Let me see if I can
Do you not
find.
prefer that one? On the screen, not on me.
Oh,
who's that guy?
Oh, that's not far from your Air Force one. Let me find that.
Okay, no need. I wasn't actually in the Air Force, so at least you can text Carl, Mrs. M. Yes, so you can do it.
Yeah,
you're not breaching any laws yet. Perhaps auto manufacturers need to agree on standard-sized swappable energy cells. Yes, that's a great idea, and that's often a problem, isn't it? Is that there isn't a universality. I mean, look at chargers on phones, for example. It's ridiculous, isn't it? P.S. Carl, your wife is so lovely.
Thank you.
I agree with you there. It is. Thank you, Rebel Mama. It's not an easy problem to solve, so let's be a bit careful on our
being your wife
statements about no.
It's not an easy problem to solve.
That's also true, I think. Do we all just need to consume a bit less? Well said, Michelle. We do, don't we? We've had a couple of centuries of acting all crazy, and everyone needs to calm the heaven down, don't they?
Yeah,
she's right. She is right.
May I just share a couple of your previous profile pictures that have got different Movembers on?
No.
Oh, come on.
Okay, fine. Have you got them ready?
Yeah, okay. I do.
I want to see which one will go best with the 6 best bags. And I still haven't done my fish pictures yet.
Hang on. This is much better. I think your audience are going to love this.
While you're finding that, I used to work for an airline. If the ops department contacted a crew member even 1 minute before their rest period ended, the crew member would be entitled to another day off.
That's great.
That is good policy, isn't it? And Antonio F is here as well. I don't know if Antonio's got any facial hair. Do send in new pictures of your own facial hair. What's going on here? What are you sharing there?
Your profile pictures from Facebook. I draw attention to this one in particular. I mean, this was another one of your Movembers, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, while we're talking about it, we might also want to consider hair because
what's happened to that baby? That is my Santa Antonio look. Don't laugh at a holy saint.
Look at this one.
Don't laugh at a holy saint. And don't ever come on this show again.
You've had some really good looks, but I'm actually looking for one.
My lederhosen. The lederhosen one's good. And what is that? Dressed up as a woman? What?
Yeah.
With a pink clutch bag.
Like he does a wig very well.
When I had hair.
I'm looking for the
Viking. Decent. And Blue Steel. Where's Blue Steel?
I love that.
George. There's Bootsy Collins as well. Yeah, that was my Swedish.
That was a good look.
That was my IKEA look, wasn't it?
I'm looking for your Air Force one. Where's that gone?
What's he doing in there? Well, can we come back to that?
George Michael there.
Jack Nicholson, actually.
I didn't realise.
Come on, this is too much.
Okay.
Dressed up as another woman there.
There's a lot of.
There is too many. Come on, look.
There's a lot. Here's his Air Force one. Look.
Okay.
Here's his
last one. Come on, we need to move on.
Look, that's the one I think you should go for. What do you think,
that's
ladies
quite sophisticated,
and men?
Isn't it?
Let me just enlarge it.
As the actress said to the bishop.
Okay. There we go. What do you think? Is that the
enough of the tashes now? I need to talk about man bags again. Man bags and messenger bags are the way to go. See, Raphael, and he's a stylish bloke. Look at the picture of him there. He's got a bow tie as well. Bow tie, facial hair, nice hat, man bags, messenger bags.
It's a really nice look.
We're changing the world here, you and me, Raphael. Porta potties. Huh?
What about porta potties? When you get stuck in the car?
Yeah, I guess so. Shiwi.
Yeah.
Get the old shiwi out the glove.
I once went on a. We've all probably had those moments where we've done internet dating, and I had this guy who turned up and was a good foot shorter than he said he was.
Often the way on the old internet.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even recognise him when he knocked on my door. I was thinking, who the hell
Hello?
is? Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
He looked nothing like who he was supposed to be. And we went we drove down to the beach to walk the dogs. And when I got into his car, oh my goodness, there was a bottle of urine on the seat. And I don't know why I didn't even just say, okay, that's it, date over. But I did go for a walk, never saw him again.
Okay, if you're watching, young man, he's probably not very young anymore, actually.
No.
That's not a good look.
It's not.
And anyone else who does that, give your car a bit of a time. I mean,
get rid of your old urine bottle.
You never get a chance to make a first impression. And if you've got a bottle of wee in your car, it's not
good.
A man bag, it could go either way. Bottle of wheat always goes the same way. No second date, I suspect. In the same vein as men carrying bags first, many names considered to be feminine started out as male names, like mine, Carla.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
In fact, when I'm doing astrology and using Carl, like putting I use asteroids when I do my astrology, and when I'm trying to do something for Carl, I put in asteroid Carla. So astrologers will use female named asteroids to represent men.
You get in touch with my feminine side for me.
I do.
Pockets take the place of bags, of course. And isn't it interesting as well? Because a daughter, Minnie, was saying, "What's that? What are these pockets in your jeans?" And I was saying, well, when jeans were what workers, when they were the apparel of the worker, the denim jean, that pocket that's still in all trousers, I think had a special purpose, didn't it? The pocket within the pocket on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
They follow a pattern, don't they? So it's true, Tim, what you're saying there. I think we have tried to use pockets instead of bags. But it comes back to, if you're carrying a passport, a mobile phone, grandparent DNA samples, emergency pastel donato, all that sort of stuff, it's got to go somewhere. And we're thinking the man bag is the way to do it. Still a lot of talk about consumption, China. And we buy the stuff from China, of course, as Michelle's saying. 8 billion individuals produce lots of pollution and other overconsumption and environmental issues being said there. Terence is here, dear boy. How are you? What could be more manly than fighting for a boxing purse? It's true. They call it a purse, don't they? It's the prize money. But wouldn't it be great if boxers could actually take their bags into the ring with them and smash each other with the bags like an old granny fight down the market? A man purse. Oh, hell no. Oh, come on. Okay, you just don't like the name. You're happy with the man bag, I think. DJ says, if you're healthy, you can rely on your natural immune system. Does that lead us naturally into what it was you put into my belly button and made my knee feel better?
Would anyone like to know?
Let's
Who'd
see.
like to know?
So
let us know, and I'll let you know.
And use a sporran is Don's guidance.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I think he was because these comments were from quite a way back, and I think it was when you were looking at the picture of who you thought was Osiris with the orange skirt.
Okay.
I think he said it was like a sporran.
Maybe, but I think a sporran could double as a belly button warmer, couldn't it? Once the oil is in, it can help keep the ambient temperature high, as well as a storage place for all your useful things. Today in man bag history, it almost has become that. Pouch, there you go. There's another word for it. I guess the orange part on the skirt is the pouch, Carl says Matty. I think Matty's a man bag. If I had to choose, is man bag, not man bag, I think Matty, with his German origins, would be a man bag.
I'm losing my...
Will to live?
No, I'm losing my opportunity to talk.
Go on, carry on.
I am going to have to go in a second.
All right, so would you like to complete your complaint and then give me marks out of 10?
No. I've already put it out to your audience. Like, what would you like to see on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
And I've kind of stated that it's really to bring together both of our channels. But I also wanted to just let you know about my show this afternoon with Robert Jardim. I'm just going to share the screen, if I may. So...
it's me. Go on. Yes, carry on. I do beg your pardon.
What do you mean it's me?
I am the complaint book.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. But I'm doing a show with Robert Jardim. I've done quite a few shows with him before. He teaches something called German New Medicine.
Matty. It's from Germany.
Okay. Yeah. And basically, it's a way of self-healing. It's a way of understanding health from a new perspective. And he's been on my show quite a few times before. In fact, if you go to Louisa Tanner Munson, obviously I don't advertise, I don't put this over Carl's channel because obviously this is about, Good Morning Portugal.
Apart from now.
Do you want me to just go?
No.
Seriously?
No.
God. Basically, he's with me this afternoon to share more secrets. The 3 steps that you can take to look at how to heal yourself. And it's really, really easy. I mean, German New Medicine, it is based on the work of a now passed away German doctor. But what he realized through brain scans is that every illness registers in the brain first, and that it's nearly always you're either ill because of poisoning, an accident, or something that has registered in your brain in an emotional way.
Trauma, basically.
Yeah, a trauma, absolutely. So if you want to learn more about that and how to unpick everything, Carl and I have unpicked things ourselves.
It's true.
And understood health from the German new medicine perspective. It's been really, really helpful. And for the people that he's already helped on our shows, I've had emails from people saying, "Oh my goodness, this is this is really great. Thank you so much. It's changing my life." So I just wanted you to know that it's there. So all you need to do is go to Louisa Tanner Munson and then just set your reminder. It's all there. If you are interested in these kinds of things, then I absolutely recommend have a look at my playlist. I think it's called Health and Wellbeing, because I've also got lots of other health related things, but we're talking about sort of natural health and healing, not doctoring as such, because you have a doctor on, you have Doc, don't you?
Tomorrow.
So the Doc
absolutely.
is on the Good Morning Portugal show. My take on things is I prefer things to really rest in the hands of the people. So, I think it's really important that we know how to heal ourselves, or at least we understand the emotional issues that might go beyond, that might form part of the picture as to why we're poorly or not feeling really great. I also do have a playlist on spiritual awareness where I talk to different people. In fact, I've got a show this week on Thursday with Tanya Castillo, who's already been on your show several times.
We've had her.
She's great. So we always have a great laugh. So if any of these things are of interest, then just go to Louisa Tanner Munson, subscribe, and then you'll see my shows. But anyway.
And why not on a Consumer Tuesday, the big picture, the holistic picture of health. And this, going back to what we were talking about on a Saturday night, this is what you would like to feature more of.
I
think, on
and
it's
not all alternative actually, because we did have an ex-NHS nurse, Jenny, who is now an integrative practitioner who looks at health from an absolute place of integrity. So she looks at all the different tests you can do. She looks at vitamin and mineral deficiencies, emotional things. And so it's a complex picture. Yeah. So, what I work towards is interviewing people who help us to unravel what's going on for us.
Yes.
I don't think it should just be in the hands of people wearing white coats. Cool. If our lives are in the hands of people that make decisions for us, where are we ever going to?
Well, look at this comment. I'm a big fan of personal responsibility and accountability. Yeah. And you're right. I think, the health picture, it's become quite mechanical, isn't it? Broadly speaking, yep. The big picture of medicine across the world, modern medicine, we might have lost a few bits of a holistic awareness. And certainly this, James, right? The whole thing of personal responsibility and accountability, I think that needs to be brought into our own health picture as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just to answer Rebel Mama, it's on at 5:00 tonight. And it's on my channel at 5 p.m. That's Lisbon, London time. Someone's already subscribed, so that's fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay. Capricorn 12. Louisa, did you hear about the hypnotist that had a major operation with no anesthesia? You know what? If you go to my channel, another hint and a plug, I speak fairly regularly with a guy called Jeff Granville, and he teaches mindfulness and medicine, and his son has had a kidney operation without any anesthetic. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go, but I've used hypnotherapy myself. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I birthed 2 children, or 2 of my 3 completely naturally. So absolutely, I love that. Thank you so much. Anyway, I've got to go.
I thought it was going to be a punchline there. Did you hear about the hypnotist that had a major operation? But it's not. Okay. It's just actually a fact.
I'm going to leave you to my husband. So lots of love to you all, and maybe see some of you later. Bye for now.
There she goes. All right. So Saturday nights, if you would like to have more of the holistic, of the spiritual, of the mind, body, spirit, do let us know, and we will factor that in more. Has the Feel Good Portugal show gone the wrong way? As Mrs. M suspects, or maybe not in the best possible way, as Kenny Everett used to say. His recovery time was amazingly quick and fast, with least complications, or with less complications. So there's the hypnotist that had the major operation with no anesthesia. And this happens around the world, doesn't it? It's so much part of culture as well. Very interesting. Okay, so what else is being said before we talk more about man bags and the price of fish? Talking about complaining here in Portugal. The complaints book is a pointless damn system, says Angry of Surrey. Not worth the paper it's made from, and not even the digital one. No more us versus them. We're all in this thing together. And the politicians have hijacked that phrase, but it's true, isn't it? We do have to see this again, coming back to that word holistic and global and universal. The answers will lie there, won't they? I think the action on this matter, and we've opened up some really interesting threads of conversation here this morning, and we'll never find out what was in my belly button for one. But I think the solutions will be enacted personally and locally, and our consciousness perhaps will be along the lines you're talking about, James, here. So I'm looking forward to talking to you on Thursday more about this personal accountability, responsibility, and this sense that we have a collective responsibility. And then what we do on the ground, in our own everyday lives. 33 is in question, a magic number according to Thunder. But 42 is the answer to the ultimate question. Of course it is. 42 is the wild card. In ASCII computer letter code. Is that where it came from, I wonder? In Portugal, says João F., the complaints book must be available in every shop by law. If they refuse to give you the complaints book, you go to the police and press charges. That's incredible, isn't it? Kent, bon dia alegria. Glad I made it for the live Livro de Reclamações. Kent, was there something you wanted to say? Susan, great to see you here, Kent, by the way. I think if we all made a conscious societal shift to prioritize kindness, complaints would diminish, as with many other problems. My new personal philosophy. Now, that's very interesting, Susan, and I've come to expect these sorts of pithy insights from you, and I mean that in a good way. There is an interesting thing about complaint culture, and Gilles is saying people should complain. On the one hand, I think it's right. I think it's really important that people say what's there for them. And the other part of that is perhaps that people don't take it personally. This idea of feedback. This is what I'm experiencing. How can you help me? That is a complaint in a way, isn't it? Or which I guess becomes more of a request. And that's certainly a world I'd love to be part of. I don't think we should repress and suppress what we think or what we feel. And there are limits to that, obviously, but I don't think we've got the balance right. I don't think it's pointless, isn't it? To if you're seething about something in how you might have been treated, let's keep it in, rather than going into psychotherapy here. Let's keep it within the realms of consumption, consumers, and the retail situation. Isn't it great to be able to say to somebody, look, this isn't quite what I had in mind from this transaction. What I was looking for is X, Y, and Z. Can you do that? In a way, that's a complaint, isn't it? That's certainly got to be more healthy and useful than leaving the shop all frustrated and suppressed and enraged, and then talking to other people about it who can do nothing about it, and the people who could do something about it in that business. Wouldn't it be great if you could share that with them and they didn't take it personally? They could just look at it and go, you know what, you're right. And what, we can try that here. We can try that here. And that was a sort of conversation we were endeavoring to have this morning with Mrs. M, with her observation about Saturday night. Isn't that a great world? So I think that resonates with what you're saying there, Susan, is to speak up. Is to certainly speak up, not to choke things down, not to hide things. This is own it. That's the first step, isn't it? This is what's going on for me. Is there can you help me with this? I think people can respond to that. When the complaint is, it's your fault, you are like this, you are like that, obviously it goes off on the wrong foot. And maybe that is a problem with the complaints book culture, is that if you feel complained at, if you take it personally, it's not a very resourceful and constructive state for transformation and change to take place. Okay, just a thought. The problem is people are in too much of a hurry to do that. Is that about Susan's comment there? I've watched live any that I can catch, but only recently started trying to join the conversation. I kind of appreciate the blend of community and information. Jeannie, you're so welcome here. That is what it's all about. Native ad, product placement. That was what was going on there, wasn't it, Thunder? Mrs. M was very cheeky this morning, but there you go. No, Louisa, stay. Carl, where's your complaints book? Did you want to complain about that? All of that holistic talk earlier on there, Thunder. See you soon, by the way. Complaints must not be an aggressive thing. Exactly. I believe in constructive criticism to help others to make things better. And João F., as one of our resident Portugueses here, is that what's at the heart of the Portuguese spirit of complaint? Is that it's constructive criticism to make things better for everybody, rather than just one person trying to get their own way over another person, or to misplace their their aggression into a situation that doesn't deserve it. Because that's what can happen, can't it? We can get the projection and the transference going on where people are taking out on other people when it's absolutely and perhaps nothing to do with them. And they've just been triggered by a particular situation. Very interesting. Louisa should take the 3 kisses off the Mrs. M. Why is that, Michael Whitby? I think Mrs. M likes her family time, and I totally agree with her. We all need a little family time. Nice one there. I am with Louisa. Sorry, God, okay. I'm not going to take that personally. So Saturday nights, you want to see more of the holistic and spiritual malarkey? Yes, well, that's true. Constructive criticism lets you grow into a better person or company if you heed the criticism. Nice one, Matty. Only seen 2 Saturday nights so far, and I've liked the light-hearted conversation, laid-back weekend show. The week is serious, and it's nice to hear laid-back convo on the weekends. Thank you, Raphael, for that. Excellent. Rather than complain, I prefer to explain my situation and ask for solutions. So there you go. There is your non-violent communication right there, okay? Owning it, I think, James, is what you're saying there. That's my situation. Can you help me with it? And I think we all want to help, don't we? I'm loving what's going on this morning. We are transforming complaint culture here. Mrs. M, I'd love to see you have a slot with Joseph from Farmer for Fun. He's a lovely bloke, isn't he? We have spoken to Joseph. Terrible Wi-Fi connection, but as you might expect, especially as he shows recipes for making food from fresh food sourced from the land. Yes, let's get Joseph on a Saturday night. Saturday night, light-hearted, giving information. I love the planned, organised chaos that just flows. Cheers, Deagle. And Mrs. M will see all of this later on, don't worry. Joseph at Marsh rocks. He so does. A lovely, lovely man. Andrew, I use the complaints book in Radio Popular, or in your case, Radio Unpopular, to complain about the €2,500 fridge that they delivered. My goodness. Okay. What does that fridge do at €2,500, Andrew? I'm guessing it is a smart fridge. It is one of the Internet of Things. I would want it to cook for me at that sort of price. I read recently that Portugal is using 60% renewable energy now. On a good day, yes, I don't think that's every day. And Andy, continuing, Radio Unpopular said it was nothing to do with them. Never use Radio Unpopular for anything, says Andrew, on Consumer Tuesday. Okay, so he's still smarting about that. And therein lies another point. If you can't be heard, it's unresolved, isn't it? And that's another reason why it's good to have a process, isn't it? So that people can feel heard and that they can feel like the situation is unresolved. And when you don't do that, you end up with a customer like Andrew, or not a customer like Andrew, who's going around saying this sort of thing. So businesses, beware of that. See if you can. I mean, you can't please all the people all the time in every situation, but I think we've all got room for improvement, haven't we? And it's really important to seek to resolve things rather than end up with a standoff, as it sounds like in this case here with Andrew. Loving this. If anything, I'd like more of it. Saturday, what he got wrong version with with Louisa. So more of that. Great feedback. Thank you, Ken. And actually, you know, if I own it, I'm not sure how much of an appetite people do have for the spiritual, and that's why we change. And it's not that I'm not into that myself. Those of you who really know me know that I am and have been for many years. But I'm not sure if it's what people want on every day, every morning. So very good to get that feedback from you, Ken. And that's why we changed the name from Spiritual Portugal, because that word does push people's buttons, doesn't it? To feel good Portugal. But this is all excellent. Thank you so much. Mrs. M will be delighted to read that later on. Obviously, we'll need to upgrade the power grid and generate more electric to support more vehicles. In fact, he's going on. My top consumer tip of 2021 is to avoid Radio Popular for anything whatsoever. Should be more. Yes, I've already made that joke, Andy. Rebel Mama is right, but it takes more electricity to make a joule of hydrogen than you get from it. No other way to make it yet. Very good. And Ron Swanson. Who is that, Eusebio? Garvo, we have massive increases in solar flare activity since Pete Bleach put his solar panels into use. Strange coincidences. It's true. It didn't go unnoticed here either, Gary Garvo. Use sunlight for electrolysis. What does that, will that take the hair off your legs as well, I wonder? It's a... All right, Andy, please, can we send a consumer counsellor to the Gilchrist household. I think Andy's in need of a little bit of consumer counselling this morning. If you've been affected by any of the issues discussed on the show this morning, unfortunately there isn't a helpline, but you know where we are tomorrow. Taking the show on the road. Yes, the doc's here tomorrow. He'll pick it up and run with it. Taking the show on the road occasionally would add a new interesting feature. We do, Gene, from time to time, but it sounds like we need to do more. That is hilarious, Gary. Yes, watch it, Bleachy. We know what you're up to. Joao F, Carl Munson, Louisa Munson. I was referring to the energy problem, not you. You are both lovely. She knew that, really. I'll have to get a macro lens to show you my mo. Oh, promises, Francis. Garvo, it could be Pete's naked sun worship ceremonies. Don't tell him that. He'll want to get over there and join in. Well, I had an idea a few years ago. We should go back to horses and carts. We get manure, cute animals, slow driving, solve as many issues, but don't take them on a toll road there, Rebel Mama. There is a sign that expressly says, I love that sign. As you're going into Lisbon, I've seen it, no livestock or hay ricks on the main road, please. Does everyone have sound? Have I killed me sound? I have sound. Did he only have 1 foot? Is that the Egyptian fella? Did you get Carl off Screwfix? Is that a question for Mrs. M? I'll ask her later on. No, off the Facebook, actually. Thank you, Antonio, my speaker. Don't do that, Michelle. Mrs. M, what do you want Carl to bring to the Feel Good Show? If not the audience, partially via the comments. Interesting bit of feedback there, Stephen. It's about balance again, isn't it? Isn't everything about balance? Bottle of urine on the seat, another movie reference, Dumb and Dumber. He sees them everywhere, everybody. Our resident film buff is Francis over there in Cape Town. The small pocket in jeans, I think, was originally for a pocket watch. Could be wrong, though. Yes, that would make sense. You seem like the sort of person who has a nice fob watch tucked into the waistcoat there, Raphael. I've designed a few very stylish man bags. My favourite. Really? My favourite was based on the concept of a classic book strap. And you're going to have to tell me what a classic book strap is, Kent. I did not know that this was your skill set. Amazing. Send pics. A solution for your popularity balance from Abel. Just do the Good Morning Show together. Yeah, we'll have to get an au pair or a nanny, I think, for that. So let's have why don't we have a crowdfunder for that? Hope no man bag here. Nope, no man bag here. Prefer a rucksack. Doesn't matter. Okay, wrong there. Rucksack. Why is it called a rucksack? We could take it to a ruck. Yes, as a motorcyclist, that makes a lot of sense. Horace notice, boxer in the ring in the UK. You mentioned handbags. How about his mother jumping into the boxing ring and beating her son's opponent over the head with her stiletto shoe? Go, Mum! Mrs. M, are you aware that the founder of NGM, German New Medicine, was found guilty in court for malpractice? Of course he was. This is what happens, isn't it, with some? I mean, obviously some of them are involved in malpractice, but I would like to know more about that. The great Wilhelm Reich. What an amazing person and contribution he was to our consciousness, and I believe mostly in a benevolent way. Again, didn't he die in an American prison? Garvo, I want to see a boxing match with 3 boxers just to see how it works out. Whoa, where's it coming from? A punch in the kidneys, or 3-4 punches in the kidneys. Say, Carl, at what time and the link, please? At 10 o'clock. Oh, is that for Mrs. M show later on? If you look up Louisa Tanner Munson and Feel Good Astrology on YouTube, you'll get that. Don and Robert is a great bloke, actually. I really enjoyed it when he was on our Saturday night show before it became more mainstream. Okay, that's a hypnotherapist. It hasn't gone unnoticed. It's 3 minutes past 10. I could very much benefit from that type of show. Subscribe. Thank you, Mrs. M, says Jeannie. Louisa, when is that German med on? I think it's this afternoon. Okay, so subscribe and you'll get the notifications to that. And Shams Mohammed with a fantastic picture there. I'm a dental technician. How is the scope? I'm not sure. Oh, I see, for jobs from Shams Mohammed. Well, being British, there's scope in my mouth here for some nice orthodontic work, Shams. So there's one customer. Holistic mental health too. I'm all about that. Absolutely right, James. And we will talk about this on Thursday, I'm sure. I agree with Mrs. M. What are the biggest causes of many diseases? Is insulin resistance, says DJ, which results from eating too many carbohydrates, glucose. A simple start is to cut out any foods with wheat. And which reminds me of the old nutritional joke. What is the difference between a bowl of pasta and a bowl of sugar? About half an hour. William Ogilby, subscribe to Louisa's channel. You two are a great team. Cheers, William. Appreciate that. And Victoria, didn't use the terms purse or handbag till maybe the 90s. We called them pocketbooks. But that's misleading, isn't it? And is that what the book strap is that Kent's talking about? We're going to have man bags part 2. Well, I haven't done my 6 best bags. I haven't talked about the price of fish. Are we carrying this forward to tomorrow morning or next Tuesday, I wonder? It's 4 minutes past 10, everybody. I didn't come here to complain. I came here for an argument. Yes, 54 people watching. Smash those likes. Feedback with kindness as the motivation. Yes, indeed, Michelle. This is the world we want, isn't it? Loads of my male friends are using Immerse these days. It's down to Immerse, everybody. Why not? It's an immersive technology. Phones don't fit in pockets. They don't, do they? They're tablets, really. Some of those great big phones now, you can barely hold them with one hand. Carl, too many people think a complaint is somewhere you can shout and rant in your face. You get more with a quiet word of respect than loud raised voice. It's so true. Always been the way, isn't it? I love that, Carl. Can you help me? Much kinder for all. It's true, isn't it? And Mrs. M, she's coming from the other side of the table now. Healthy Move Portugal, German units. And I've heard that. I keep my mind open. There are many free or empowering forms of healing that get shut down by Big Pharma, she says. Sarah's here, everybody. I'd go for the messenger bag. Of course you would, as a keen cyclist. If you get a good one, they're waterproof and have compartments for your laptop and other electronics and small children, probably. As a biking family, we all have them. So the messenger bag is a good tip for us men folk who are thinking of dabbling in the dark side of purses. I think we should learn to complain more. Help organizations or establishments know that they're making a mistake or have let themselves down. This way they can improve. Yeah, Capricorn 12. It's all in the process, isn't it? And the way it's done and the context and all of that. Maybe the word suggestion is better than complain. Sometimes people may not be aware. Yeah, it's a push button word like spiritual. If you approach someone and say, I've got a complaint, it's like, oh God, here we go. If you say, I've got a suggestion, or can I speak to you for a moment? There's something I need help with. So important. All the language is very important. And Mrs. M knows about that with her hypnotherapy and her NLP. German New Medicine offers a framework for understanding your health, and almost like a user's manual. If it was regulated, Big Pharma falls on its backside. There she goes. The way governments are going lately, they will make a law so we cannot complain. That'll be one way of dealing with it. Carl, if you want to cook, if you want it to cook for you, you need an oven. I do have enough of a grasp of white goods to know that, Stephen. But £2,500 for a fridge. No wonder he's upset. Carl had a combination. Here we go. The belly button drama, a mystery, has been resolved here. Carl had a combination of almond oil, ghee, and neem oil, tea tree oil in his belly button. He had a painful knee, which he's had for weeks, has disappeared overnight. We'll keep belly oiling. There we go. And please don't try this at home unless you know exactly what you're doing, okay? We don't want our complaints book to have weird stuff in it, like tried the almond, ghee, and neem oil combo with tea tree oil and ended up with a terrible rash. Like James is saying, take responsibility and research it before you do anything interesting like that. But I'm up for it, I can tell you. Any web search with XXX at the end takes you places you don't want. Thank you, Michael, for that. Rebel Mama from Mrs. M. I always try and work things out naturally. My woman bag has homeopathy and oils. It does. It's like a witch's bag, and I don't mean that badly. Where do you buy these oils? Asked David Dawson. This is good. This is the sort of stuff we need to answer on Saturday night, isn't it? Ron Swanson, your mustache comedian, thank you very much. Carl Munson, Ron Swanson. It's not a big leap, is it? Yes, show on the road, Rebel Mama. Come up to Soiseau, bring the kids. Thank you, Rebel Mama. We'd have some fun with you up there. And I was thinking about this. Next year, I think we should do at least 4 weekends. And I think the north, definitely. Maybe you can help us with that, Rebel Mama. Down in the south, maybe we'll work with Nick from Algarve Addicts. 1 in the capital and 1 in Central as well. Let's have some weekenders, shall we, and hang out and get together. Mrs. M continuing, I was diagnosed with ME or CFS when I was 19, after years of being told there was nothing wrong with me. There's the backstory, folks. We'll talk more next Saturday night. I think it turns out she's made a good point. She made it strongly, and it's going to influence the shape of the show on a Saturday night. Ron Swanson is the character from Parks and Recs with the big tash you showed a photo of. Gumper lag is a thing. It is, isn't it? It's not just lag, it's complete forgetfulness. And I'm talking of gumpers. I'll carry it forward to tomorrow. I was sent a lovely picture on the matter of gumpers. Run out of time today. And I want to do that justice, as well as the price of fish at another time. The docs could do nothing but give me antidepressants and antibiotics for the best part of a decade and no improvement. Surprise there from Mrs. M. Find out more on a Saturday night. Screwfix, no. Facebook. The problem with some Screwfix is that got a double meaning? I'm wondering now. The problem with some complainers, they think they are experts on everything, and sometimes they're completely wrong. Yes, and it takes a very skillful person to show them that, doesn't it? And perhaps that's the art of great customer service, is to be able to show your supposed expert complainer that actually there's something they may have missed out from the context of their complaint. Louisa said online was 1 foot short of his description. The online date was 1 foot short. And I've forgotten what you're referring to, which was referring to something else. This is definite Gumper lag going on. Yes, Ron Swanson is also playing the father in Colin Kaepernick's Black and White on Netflix. Thanks for that, James. Gave up my car, walking and public transport for me. Very sustainable. And yes, Matty, what hands-on process do you practice? And would you like to talk about it on a show soon? There we go. See what she did there. See what Matty did there. Let's do it. Coming to a Saturday night near you soon. Nick Offerman is the actor with the stash. Is that another one then? Is Ron Swanson his on screen name, and Nick Offerman and another name for him? Louisa, I join in on that one. Okay. With Matty talking about pain relief. Yes, man bag does feel like a euphemism. It's true. Carl, I think your stash has grown since you started the show. It's getting that way, isn't it? Is that a hint, David? It's time to move on, isn't it? Francis, yes, internet dating is rife with fake representations. I once met a man who has no teeth. Start of a limerick, isn't it? His photo didn't show this. He was like this. And it wasn't me. Okay. Q Bill Withers again. Lovely day. Yes. Can you hold that long note, James? Rebel. Yeah, that's the thing to do, isn't it? After today's show, jump on the Spotify or iTunes or whatever you use and crank up Lovely Day. And let me know how that goes tomorrow. Rebel Mama, I think accepting people as they are is always a great place to start. Yes, room for improvement rather than making them wrong. Absolutely. Accepting and respecting people. I like to add that to Mrs. M there. Satchel is the best name. It is unisex. Love a good satchel. I'm with Susan. I think we've sorted it, haven't we? Satchel it is, everybody. And I will research satchels, the 6 best bags from ape to... What was it called, that website? apetojgentleman.com. We will return to that. I love my GP. She often swears in our 10-minute appointments about Big Pharma. I'd love to introduce her to the doc. That would be a fantastic red conversation, wouldn't it just? Anna's here, everybody. In Sweden, we normally say, can I give you some feedback? No. One says no, which means they have accepted to get feedback, complaint, and then they need to do something about it. Yes, well said, Anna. What is it about the Scandinavians, eh? The German surgeon who pioneered the angioplasty, I thought it was a kind of pasty you were talking about there. Is that an angioplasty? Would that be a pasty made entirely of animal hearts? Anyway, the heart stent operation, carried out the operation on himself without anesthesia. Now, that is someone I would follow into war. I want to complain about all this complaining. Yes, Garvo, you know where I am. You've got my number. Call me after the show with that feedback. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Carl, I'm out of here. I'm outlasting the listeners. We've got to do something about this, i.e. play the end titles. Flying in Thursday morning and can hardly wait. Okay, folks, we've got to say goodbye. And I will put any remaining comments I've got on the screen for you. And we will welcome the doc in the morning. And maybe we'll pick up the Big Pharma conversation with him tomorrow. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now. Have a great day.